You know, most Friday afternoons we tape a piece for our program on the streets of New York City. Now, this, of course, takes planning, meticulous preparation, and a lot of hard work, so it was only a matter of time before we said to hell with it. Instead, we decided to wander around aimlessly, pick up a couple of strangers, and hang around with them all afternoon. And here, boys and girls, is what happened. Hi.
Oh, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
What's your name?
Right outside their hotel, we met Neil Bordy and Tanya Anderson, just in from Louisville, Kentucky for a weekend vacation.
What are you doing right now?
We're just getting ready to go out and do a little sightseeing.
And would you mind if we came along with you? Would that bother you? Because as it turns out, we really have nothing to do today.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
They planned to spend the afternoon sightseeing and agreed to let us tag along. I'm guessing it was the jet lag.
Taxi! Hey! Right here! Taxi! Huh? What?
Empire State Building. And step on it. Nice view, huh?
Not bad.
Yeah, yeah. That's the Lincoln Memorial over there. Yeah.
Which one?
Right over there. See those twin towers? That's Lincoln and his wife. Well, that's the Golden Gate Bridge. You can't see it because of the fog, but it's beautiful.
You guys are blocking me.
Oh, geez, my retinas, my corneas. This is going to look like something left over from the Patty Hearst kidnapping. Yes, there's memories that will last a lifetime of. Here's the card. This is going to your
My parents,
Peggy and
Lyle and
Lyle,
Terrell.
Peggy, and Terrell. And it says, New York is horrible, the people are nasty, the city is dirty, and everyone is very mean.
Dave, how you doing?
Good,
Dave?
how are you? I want you to meet some people, some friends of mine.
All right.
They're in town from Louisville. This is Neil and his girlfriend, Tanya.
Neil, Tanya, why don't you come on in? Peach margaritas.
Do you know about Trump Tower?
A little.
You just heard of it?
And you know, Donald Trump's in the news all the
Is he really? He just saved some...
He's shoving people out of their homes.
Yeah.
We watched 60 Minutes a year ago.
Hi, how are you? Are you the security man?
Yes.
You carrying heat?
Keep an eye on you.
Yeah. Do you have a gun on you?
Yes.
Show us your gun.
I don't think it'd be cool.
Let me pat you down.
No,
come on
no,
over. Come here.
necessary.
Come on over
No,
here.
no.
Let me just see if I can find where your gun is. Please.
No.
What does that
The
go
way it's
for?
cut. That's $10,000.
10 grand. I don't know. That might be a little showy with that necklace. Foxes are what? They're clubbed to death?
No, no, no. Well, they have to be very carefully
Yeah.
put to sleep.
Are they shot in the head? What? Thank you very much. Go on in. Thank you again. Oh my gosh. I'm Dave Letterman. Nice to see you. How are you?
Nice seeing you.
Nice.
Would you like to come into the office?
Yeah, let's go into the office. Because I need to talk to you about the heating in my building, Don. Don, where is Doug Flutie, for heaven's sakes? Doug! Where the hell do you have him? All right, I have one more question, and then we're out of here. It's the middle of a Friday afternoon. You didn't know we were coming.
Absolutely.
You said, come on up. How busy can you be?
I'm not busy. I have nothing to do. You know my truth? I have nothing to do. I wish I had more to do.
What would you be doing
I
if
think
you
I'll
could
go to
do it?
Louisville.
You should.
We'll do a couple of real estate deals in Louisville.
There's a spot over here down on the carpet. Look into that. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. All right, let's get out of here. Don't touch anything. Let's go. Let's keep going. That's about it. And after this, you're pretty much on your own. Nice meeting you.
right.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a good time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Keep your hand on your wallet. All right, bye-bye. Very nice people from Louisville. We'll be right back with Mr. Wizard. Has enough money to give everyone in the audience tonight $1 million. Okay. Okay, we'll see what kind of mood he's in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the author of this book right here, Trump, The Art of the Deal, Donald Trump. Hi, Donald. Good to see you. Nice of you to stop by.
Thank you, David.
You know, at the beginning of the show, I said you either love him or you hate him. Now, do you find that that's true, or does everybody love you, or does everybody hate you?
No, most people love me, and a few really have great distaste for me, David.
And
I like
why is it that those people, that few, would not care for you? Because you're so successful?
I can't imagine. No, I don't think so. It's just I sort of speak my mind a little bit like you in that respect.
Yeah.
A little bit like
A little bit like me.
Not too much, hopefully.
How much are you worth right now as you're sitting right here?
Zero idea, David. It depends on what's happening with the world and the market. But the $1 million for each person in the audience sounds like it could be an intriguing idea.
Yeah. Do you make more money? You own casinos. How many casinos do you own?
We have 4 casinos.
4 casinos in Atlanta?
Paradise Island, Atlantic City, and it's really been very fabulous.
Now, do you make more money from the casinos or more money in real estate development?
Well, probably real estate in a sense, but real estate is an appreciation business, whereas the casinos are cash flow, and I don't know, I never really even think of it in those terms. I tried doing a great job. I think we have the best hotel casinos in the world, and hopefully I have the best real estate in the world with Trump Tower and everything, and that's what I like. That's
all right, now let's get back to the assessment of your wealth for a second. If you had to liquidate, if you just decided I'm going somewhere else, I'm going to live in a trailer, and you wanted to sell off, everything, you'd start with your real estate development, all of your real estate holdings, and whatever else you have, your casinos, so on and so forth. You sold everything.
Right.
How big would that check be that you put in your pocket when you headed west for the trailer?
Well, I hate to disappoint, but I have zero idea, David. How come this seat is at such a low level? You know, I'm looking at him. He's got this stage rigged, folks.
No. But
that seat is a good half, 6 inches higher than my seat.
And so am I.
Huh? I see.
But no, I'm serious. I think that this...
I'm not going to get you off that subject.
No, this is... I think this is the kind of thing that people love to fantasize about, because you were unquestionably one of the most successful men in the country, if not the world, and also one of the wealthiest. So, give us a figure that we might ponder here.
You'll never get it out of me, David. You'll never get it out of me. You'll try, but you'll never get it. Let's get something like how we're going to become more successful. Let's talk about that.
I read something this afternoon that said in the bank right now you have $500 million in cash. In cash. Is that a fair?
Which paper did you read that in?
Well, I can't divulge those sources.
You have to give me the newspaper.
No, just tell me, is that not true, or is that close? Am I nuts here?
Well, I don't know. You have to tell me where you got that, David. This is a very unusual interview, folks.
You won't put a figure, just an imaginary figure?
Never would.
$1 billion. You're worth $1 billion?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Perhaps. Are we the low side of perhaps or the high side of? What were you like as a kid? What kind of childhood did you have?
Well, I had a good childhood, wonderful parents, really good parents, and it was a good, solid childhood, I'd say. Very normal in a lot of respects, but a very, very solid childhood.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of family, you know.
Are you a driven person? Do you jump out of bed in the morning and just...
I don't think of myself as driven. I'm fortunate. I don't need lots of sleep like some people, and some people don't. I don't need that. I would say that I'm somebody that enjoys what I do, and I enjoy it so much that perhaps I do it well. But I really enjoy what I do. I don't like to think of myself as driven. I don't like to think of myself really as ambitious. I just enjoy what I do, Dave.
Is what you do something you've always wanted to do? I know your father was and still is a real estate developer.
My father was in the real estate business, and I've been in that and other businesses and different things. I like what I'm doing. I just enjoy what I'm doing. I love the real estate business, and I love the other businesses that I'm in.
Could you have done it without your father as a support system, both emotionally and financially? Did he help you out when you were starting?
The emotional was very important, and I learned a lot from my father, more than anything else. I learned a lot. My father was out in sort of a tough business in Brooklyn, Queens, rent-control property and various properties, and it wasn't a great business. It was a good business, and he was a solid guy and a bright guy. And I learned a lot from my father. And I think in terms of support, that would be the #1 thing that I got from my father.
Have you had failures, big failures?
Well, I don't look at failures as failures. I think a failure is something that you really want to learn by. I would say that I haven't had too many, and I want to keep it that way. I like keeping
What's
it
the
that
biggest bath you've taken on a deal?
I don't know if I can answer it yet. I mean, let's see what happens. So far, I've been very fortunate. But, I mean, we've all been fortunate. Markets have been going up other than a few weeks
Now, did you
ago.
get hurt in the stock market then?
Not particularly, but I think everybody gets hurt because when you lose $1 trillion or whatever throughout the world, I suspect everybody's hurt indirectly. I'm in the real estate business. You sell apartments, you sell this, you sell that. Perhaps people don't have as much. Everybody gets hurt by that, David.
Let me ask you one more of these silly questions, and I promise after we do the commercial, we'll go on to other topics.
Then we're going to get serious, right?
Well, I didn't say that. What would it take, what kind of a hit would it take to get your attention where you would maybe need a drink? Where somebody came in and said, Don, we got some bad news. Woo! That's 7-Eleven in Akron. Well, what?
Hopefully, David, I wouldn't be in a position where I'd have to take that kind of a...
I know that. I know. We're just pretending.
I just want to tell you that...
You act like you're running for something.
No.
We'll do a commercial. We'll let him think some of these over and try and get a straight answer. Okay, Donald Trump is here. You're on the cover of the new issue of People magazine. I don't know what I'm beating around the bush here. I don't know why you're being so goofy about this. It says on the cover, you're a billionaire.
It
at
does
41.
say that?
Yeah.
Well, if
so would
people
you
says it, I would have to believe it. When people say so...
what's the deal with you and Ed Koch? Is this an old irritation between the two of you, or is this something new?
No, it's really not. Ed Koch is a man who I've liked at some points in terms of... I have no objection to Ed except for one thing. He's not a very capable or competent mayor. He's done a fine job. He's done a bad, as most of you New Yorkers would probably know, he's done a pretty bad job running New York, and that hurts me and it hurts everybody. And when I see somebody that's not competent and he's running something, and something that I have really a big stake in, it bothers me and I do something about it.
Are you speaking from a position of somebody who has a lot of really special interest in the city?
No, it's not I do have a special interest. I have a special interest in New York. New York City is a hot city. It's a great city. It's the greatest city in the world, according to many, and according you're here, and we're also here.
Right.
And I hate to see some of the things happening with New York that have happened under the Koch administration. So I hit him pretty hard in the book, but I hit him fairly in the book. I hit him very fairly.
Yeah.
Probably very hard in the book, but very fairly.
Is it kind of a pointless defense to say that this city is so big that it is actually unmanageable to a certain extent, and he's doing the best he can, sort of just tending it day to day?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I hope that's never a defense of anybody. I did the Woolman skating rink in 4 months for $2 million or $2.5 million. They started 7 years before that and were unable to build it. I think they spent something like $15 million.
This is a huge ice skating facility in Central Park, which the city was...
7 years. 7 years.
7 years, they could not get it open.
They could not build it,
Yeah.
and we did it in 4 months. So, you know, you say, hey, it's big and everything else, and give them a little bit more time, but the fact is, that's a disgrace. The zoos are a disgrace. The subways, the schools. It's really, David, it's really management. It's management, it's competence, it's capability, it's just basic ability, and Ed Koch doesn't have it.
Yeah, but you're speaking again from the over-the-fence in private enterprise. He's trying to run a municipal administration.
It can be done.
You think it could be done?
Absolutely. By the right person, it could be done.
Yeah. Any thoughts? I mean, would you want to be mayor of this city?
No, I wouldn't want to be mayor. It'd run very well if I was mayor, but I would not want to be the mayor of New York.
Is there something you do want?
No, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on your show. You're a fantastic show. You're a star in my book. Everyone's talking about...
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that.
We wrote all about David in the big book.
Now, that's another
Pretty
thing.
surprised
We
to see
came
that.
up to you that one afternoon, completely unannounced. We were in the lobby of the Trump Tower facility up the road there, and we just called up and said, can we come up and see Don? And they said, come on up.
Absolutely.
Now, how busy can you be?
I'm not busy at all.
But you
That
were
was
actually,
a lot of fun, by the way.
Yeah, it
Your
was fun.
coming up was a lot of fun.
And I must say, I thought that was very gracious of you to do, because obviously you got a lot better things to do than goof around with me.
You're right.
Yeah. And what about the, are people trying to draft you to run for president up in New Hampshire?
Well, I guess a lot of people want to see this country. It's a shame what's happening. Japan, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, everybody's taking advantage of the United States. People know that if certain people are running a country, that it won't happen. I mean, when you look at Japan, not paying for the defense, we're defending Japan. We're losing billions and billions of dollars. We're fighting for AIDS help and for farmers and for this and that. And it's a shame. And the Japanese folks, who I respect greatly, but they're not treating us fairly. They're really not treating us fairly. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, they're not paying us anything for the services we're rendering, and I think it's a disgrace. And I think people look at certain people, and maybe me, if I were in a position, this country, believe me, would not be ripped off like it is. And it is just being ripped off so badly by our so-called allies.
Yeah. So that's a pretty strong statement. So now, are you saying
I don't think it's
that...
strong. I think it's fair. And by the way, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese. I do a lot of business with the Japanese. And they smile about it, too. They know it. The country is losing billions and billions of dollars to Japan, and we can't afford to lose. And it's a shame.
But so now, are you saying this by way of indicating that you could do it better, and you do intend to run for president at some point?
No, I'm not going to run for president, but I think somebody...
Now, in 8 years, if you came back, would you have a different answer? In 4 years,
I tend to doubt it. I really tend to doubt it. But I just think that there are so many ways that this country can straighten itself out, and we're not going about those ways. Cutting farm aid is not the appropriate thing. Cutting help for the homeless and help for the poor and welfare... Certain things can be done that really will mean big dollars to this country, and those things are not being done right now.
Let me ask you one other question, because I know you have other appointments and stuff to get to. If you go to dinner and the bill is like, say, $25, how much of a tip would you throw down?
Well, you know, the way I feel about tips, if somebody does a super job, I give more than anyone. And if somebody does a lousy job, I probably give less than anybody. And that's the way I feel about life. Life should be, you should be rewarded for competence and capability and doing a job and having a smile on your face, maybe, if that's the case. And I'm a pretty good tipper when somebody's good, and I'm a pretty lousy tipper if somebody's not good. So that's the way it is.
But, you know, sitting here listening to this stuff, it seems to me you are dying to get to some public platform to superimpose those feelings upon the American awareness.
Well, maybe so, but I'm not. I would like to have the feelings known and let somebody else do it, and it can be done. If the ball's carried correctly, it can be done.
Yeah, but if you want something done right,
do it yourself.
Here is the book. It's Trump, the Art of the Deal, and this is Donald Trump. Donald, thank you very much for coming out. We'll be right back. For 12 seasons, our next guest has broadcast the NFL Today with Brent Musburger. He is a man who knows the angles and the odds on everything from the White House to the Super Bowl. Folks, please say hello to Jimmy the Greek Snyder. Hi, Jimmy. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show.
Since I can make it all even, you can come on our show tomorrow, then tell us what's wrong with the Giants.
All right, I'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
All right. Let's I mentioned here the White House to the Super Bowl. Since we just mentioned it, since we were talking about Gary Hart, could you now give us odds on the Republican nominee, the Democratic nominee, and the ultimate winner?
And Gary Hart, too? Huh?
Yeah, whatever
See
you
what
want.
too much love's done for you?
What's that?
It blows out your brains.
Okay.
That's mine.
I see.
Okay. Now, the Republican nominee, it's 8-5 that Bush beats Dole.
Uh-huh.
Now, it's 6-1, you can't guess who the Democrat's going to be, and I don't care who you take.
Yeah.
And it's 50-1 against Hart.
Uh-huh. And are there odds now on Cuomo being brought back into the fray?
Well, if anybody would make them, it would be me, and I don't think Cuomo wants to run, but I would have to make him a 20-1 shot.
Mm-hmm.
Only because he doesn't want to run. If he would run, he'd be a 3-1 shot.
Yeah.
If Iacocca would run, he'd be 2-1. You know.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You think so?
Definitely.
What about a guy like Donald Trump, who looks like a candidate somewhere down the road, but won't really say anything?
You know, I'm glad you asked that. But you see, there's a difference here. There's a way of doing this. Donald is a Republican sort of in the middle of the road. he'd have to leave that side because Bush and Dole have that all tied up. I'm talking about the delegates. But if he would leave and go on the Democratic side, he could bury all these people. Look at Hart. I mean, all of a sudden, he's #1. I mean, that's an impossibility. Now, Mr. Trump is arrogant, he's egotistical, but he's smart, and he's beautiful, and he knows how to do things.
Right.
If he would switch to the Democratic side, he could win the Democratic nomination because he knows how to put things together, put slates together in every state. He could win because then he'd go against Bush, and I'll tell you something. It would be a close election. I know that sounds ridiculous.
No, it does sound ridiculous because I think when people I mean from the standpoint when you talk to Donald Trump, you think maybe in 4 years or in 8 years, but now to suddenly
there's nobody there, David.
Yeah. But things have already started, and for him to announce that he's switching parties, I mean, who's going to accept that? And
Reagan did. Why not?
Well, all right. Now, how do we describe you? You're a professional gambler, and
I was a professional.
You don't gamble
gambler
anymore?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, except on the market every morning, like 500 or 600 shares of stock every day.
But most of your life, that's how you made your living, right?
1962. Yes.
I think you were the first gambler that Americans probably became aware of on a national basis.
That's because I made the numbers first. That was all. You know, I mean, I've been around for 50 years, so consequently.
Do you remember how you started gambling? What your first bet was? How much?
The first
you won?
big one I remember.
What
the
was
first
that?
time I bet $500 or more was on Lewis against Smelling, 1930 something, 39 or something. I had to borrow $500 so I could lay 9 to 5.
Had this been something you got from your family or your friends? Were they all gamblers as well?
No, I was born in Steubenville. I was born in Steubenville, Ohio. I mean, and I was 25 before I found out that gambling was illegal because they had 11 gambling houses in a town of 40,000.
Is that right?
You know, I say that. I mean, it's kind of cute, but it's true.
Yeah.
If you had to exist, you either had to work in a coal mine or a steel mill or gamble, and I thought that was easier.
Now, when you were gambling regularly, on any given weekend, how many different bets at how much money would you have out?
No, you don't. When I was gambling, I never played a lot of games. I would wait and play a lot of money on one game.
Like, give us an example.
Well, the big one that I lost, in fact, was Kentucky against Santa Clara in 1950. And I bet $250,000 on it. But you know...
I'm sorry? $250,000 on one game?
Yeah, but I lost it.
Jeez, that's
But you know, I
depressing.
bet $50,000 on the other 5 bowl games that day, and I won all 5 of them. But you know what? Goes to show you how
reaching
smart
for
I
my
was.
wallet to give you a hand, and you broke
you don't
even
have
then
to-
that day.
Yeah, I broke even, but the whole thing about it, you know, today there's people in Vegas and around the country that do that every week.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nothing.
It's really mushroomed, hasn't it?
It sure has.
Do you remember your single biggest win and your single biggest loss? Was that it, the $250,000 loss?
A big win was Truman against Dewey, you know.
Really? You had money on that?
Yeah. I didn't have to put up too much for that.
I wouldn't think so. And how much did you end up bringing home?
I took 17 to 1. I mean, it's a matter of record that I won 170,000. But Winchell was around, and somebody, you know, by the time the story was told and retold, he had me winning $1,700,000, and I had the IRS on my back for about 7 years after that.
How are you and Brent getting along? Wasn't there about 5 years ago, you guys got into a scuffle in a bar or something?
Now listen, we've been together for almost 13 years. We're entitled to one argument. I mean, you know, you have that many arguments with your wife every week. No, Brent said something he shouldn't have said, and I did something I shouldn't have done. He and I are the closest of friends. I saw him on your show.
But somebody did get punched, right?
Well, it was about even.
All right, a little punch out. Did you hear that, Paul? We're entitled to one punch out. This is the man you see every, I guess, Saturday and Sunday now, right?
Well, Saturday and Sunday this week, right?
Yeah.
And next week also.
Jimmy the Greek. Pleasure to meet you, Jimmy. Thank you very much for being here. We'll be back with Ryan.